Hello, my name is Father Rayappa. I'm going to comment on IPCC's fifth assessment report on South Asia. Actually, IPCC is suggesting a lot of action plans under 10 categories like human development, poverty, alleviation, and water management, and waste management. These are the categories. And I think adaptation is a new word in the dictionary. It was old, but only now we focus on adaptation. So this whole talk is based on the adaptation processes. So IPCC puts it beautifully. Climate change poses an increasing threat to equitable and sustainable development. Sustainable development and equity provide a basis for assessing climate policies and addressing the risks of climate change. Business as usual development pathways can contribute to climate risk and vulnerability and miss out on innovations and opportunities to build resilience in social and economic sectors. The IPCC underlines South Asia's need to integrate climate action with inclusive and sustainable economic development. South Asia means India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Burma, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, all these countries included. So they are termed as South Asia. And IPCC is suggesting action on climate change. And they say adaptation can bolster development. Adaptation is not something about we make a change in our habitats. We see adaptation in a negative light, as if it's a disaster. And adaptation means we are going to lower level. No, we are going to higher level. Actually, adaptation can create opportunities which we never know. Probably adaptation can make us more complex or more put us on the pinnacle of economic growth. We don't know. So anyway, IPCC is suggesting 10 categories. So the first one is in the field of human development. For example, we can create improved access to education, nutrition, health facilities, energy, safe housing and settlement structures, and social support structures, reduced gender inequality and marginalization in other forms. Category number 2, in the field of poverty alleviation, we can create improved access to and control of local resources, land tenure, disaster risk reduction, social safety nets and social protection, insurance schemes. In the field of livelihood security, that is category 3, and we should boost income, asset, and livelihood diversification, improved infrastructure, access to technology and decision-making fora, increased decision-making power, changed cropping, livestock, And aquaculture practices reliance on social network. Category number 4 in the field of disaster risk management. We should create early warning systems, hazard and vulnerability mapping, diversifying water resources, improve drainage, flood and cyclone shelters, building codes and practices, storm and wastewater management, transport and road infrastructure improvements. Now comes category 5, ecosystem management. Maintaining wetlands and urban green spaces is very important. Coastal afforestation, watershed and reservoir management, we need to educate. Reduction of other stressors on ecosystems and of habitat fragmentation, maintenance of genetic diversity, manipulation of disturbance regimes, community-based natural resource management. Category 6, spatial or land use planning, provisioning of adequate housing, infrastructure and services, managing development in flood-prone and other high-risk areas, urban planning and upgrading programs, land zoning laws, easements, protected areas. Category 7, structural physical planning. So, category of adaptation. Structurally we need a change. Physically also we need a change. So let us make plans. Engineered and built environment options, sea walls and coastal protection structures, flood levees, water storage, improved drainage, flood and cyclone shelters, building codes and practices, storm and waste water management, transport and road infrastructure improvements, floating houses, power plant and electricity grid adjustments. In the field of technological options, new crops and animal varieties we can create, indigenous, traditional and local knowledge we value, technologies and methods, efficient irrigation, water saving technologies, desalinization, conservation agriculture, food storage and preservation facilities, hazard and vulnerability mapping and monitoring, early warning systems, building insulation, mechanical and passive cooling, technology development, transfer and diffusion. In ecosystem-based options, ecological restoration, we need to bring out soil conservation, afforestation, reforestation, mangrove conservation, and replanting green infrastructure, for example, shade, trees, green roofs, controlling overfishing, very important, fisheries co-management, assisted species migration and dispersal, ecological corridors, we need to create them, seed banks, gene banks, and other ex situ conservation, community-based natural resource management. In the field of services, we need to provide social safety nets and social protection, food banks and distribution of food surplus, municipal services including water and sanitation, vaccination programs, essential public services, enhanced emergency medical services. Category number 8, changes in the institution, economic options, financial incentives, insurance, catastrophe bonds, payments for ecosystem services, pricing water to encourage universal provision and careful use, microfinance, disaster contingency funds, cash transfers, public-private partnership. In the field of laws and regulations, land zoning laws, building standards and practices, easements, water regulations and agreements, laws to support disaster risk reduction, laws to encourage insurance purchasing, define the property rights and land tenure security, protected areas, fishing quotas, patent pools and technology transfer. National and government policies and programs, national and regional adaptation plans, including mainstreaming, subnational and local adaptation plans, economic diversification, urban upgrading programs, municipal water management programs, disaster planning and preparedness, integrated water resource management, integrated coastal zone management, ecosystem based management, community based adaptation. Category number 9 in the field of society or social. Under the educational options, we should create awareness and integration into education, ecological education, gender equity in education, extension services, sharing indigenous, traditional and local knowledge, participatory action research and social learning, knowledge sharing and learning platforms. In the informational options, hazard and vulnerability mapping, early warning and response systems, systematic monitoring and remote sensing, climate services, use of indigenous climate observations, participatory scenario development, integrated assessments. And also the behavioral option, how one should behave. There should be household preparation and evacuation planning, migration, soil and water conservation, storm drain clearance, livelihood diversification, chain cropping, livestock and aquaculture practices, reliance on social networks. The last category, number 10, the spheres of change. In the practical sense, social and technical innovations are very important, and behavioral shifts. We need to shift our behavior. Or institutional and managerial changes that produce substantial shifts in outcomes. In the political sector, there should be political, social, cultural, and ecological decision and actions consistent with reducing vulnerability and risk and supporting adaptation, mitigation, and sustainable development. In a personal level, this is for all the 7 billion people, to every individual. There should be individual and collective assumptions, beliefs, values, and worldviews influencing climate change responses. That is very important. First of all, every individual should undergo awakening. Yes, something is bad is happening. And also ecological education is recommended to each and every person on this planet. Actually, ignorance is the cause for all the problems. So ecological education removes ignorance, and there comes awakening. And then when the awakening happens, then we revere or we show respect to all living and non-living things, and we will value from stone or soil all the way to Homo sapiens, to humans. Everything has value. When you cultivate value to every creature, I think you will not hurt them. You will never destroy them. Rather, you will conserve them and you will protect them. So that is recommended in the personal level. I thank IPCC 5th assessment report on South Asia They have done a beautiful job of warning people, those who live in this part of the world. I think the people, those who live in these areas, they should practice. They should talk about it. They should include in their own lifestyle and in their own habits. Take care.